Hey everybody, this is Nightwatch N8. So I just thought I'd share with you all how I voted on the ballot in the state of Colorado this election. Not that it matters all that much, as we know, right, guys? But especially with all the news coming out of the tampering with our elections here in Colorado. Thankfully, I think it's the head of the Libertarian Party opened up a lawsuit against Jenna Griswold. Sounds like something out of Harry Potter, I know. But my vote is that she gets the mandatory 9-year prison sentence, right? Shouldn't that only be fair? So in any case, for what it's worth, let me know what you think in the comments section. If you agree, of course, my go-to is anything that increases taxes just automatically gets a no vote out of me. We're already taxed to oblivion enough, and I don't really see the benefits of all those taxpayer dollars here in the state going to anything worthwhile. So let me know what you think. These are my votes. Of course, for the schools. Any more taxpayer money, anything that asks for any more taxpayer money, I'm against. The thing about veterinarians, the only reason I voted yes for that was to have less regulation in the state, right? Anytime it's a law that asks me that restricts people's ability to freely exercise, to open a business and run a business, that's what lawsuits are for. If you're afraid that these people are underqualified, they're going to harm your pet, well, take it up in small claims court, right? If somebody directly affects you, does harm to you or your loved ones or your loved pets, let's say, take it up in court. That's how the law should work. We shouldn't have to rely on government to heap all these burdens of regulation around everything that we do in life, to the point that we're all smothered, right? We don't have any ability to act freely. And as I figure, it's pretty much like the concept, you go to these kind of like budget dentists, and they have all these college interns that work on you when they have when they're being supervised by somebody who actually knows what they're doing, who's a qualified dental assistant or dentist. And if anything, it'll probably reduce costs for hospital or veterinarian visits, because there'll be more competition, and that's how the free market works. Less of a monopoly there is for these price gouging veterinarians, the better on the consumer. And so, in any case, the other one was the I think 131. I just like that idea because y'all know how much I'm against the two-party illusion, how much power the Democrat and Republican parties have over our entire electoral process. And so I like the idea of having more independence and stuff, running for different offices. I've heard this can be a mixed bag in certain states, like my friend Lauren Culp in Washington talks about how sometimes they will, this is an open primary, how they can rig a vote, by voting for the candidate that doesn't stand a chance. All the lefties will vote for this candidate on the right who doesn't stand a chance when it comes down to pinning that candidate against their favorite candidate on the left. So, it's a lot to think about. But I just like the idea of breaking that two-party stranglehold on our political process. And from what I gather, this is just pretty much for local offices and that kind of thing. So to have the option to vote for somebody other than R or D is a plus in my mind. That's a positive direction. But here I'm dodging traffic and trying to recall how I voted. Again, these are just the ballot initiatives. Of course, I'm going to abstain from the presidential election this year because I don't think it's even a choice. It's a selection, not an election, right? And it really doesn't matter in the end. On the federal level, our elections are so completely controlled, and all these candidates are so completely bought off by big money. Like I said, I could have predicted, and I did predict 4 years ago, when Trump signaled he'd run again for the presidency. I knew that Trump would be our next president. So it's pretty obvious, to me at least. I don't know why so many other people, other seemingly smart people like Robert Malone, just put out today, the day before Election Day, that his prediction is Trump's gonna win. Doesn't take a rocket scientist, and it doesn't take a bioweapons expert like a Robert Malone either, I guess. But yeah, other than that, it's just some trivial stuff. It's pretty much like increased taxes, of course, on this county. And I'm like, hell no. You don't need no more taxpayer dollars. I don't even see the benefits of the taxpayer dollars that I give you in the first place. Not that I give them much, trust me. But, and the other ones are just increased spending in schools. And it's like, you know what? Colorado, the state of Colorado, how much hundreds of millions of dollars have you received in marijuana money and all those promises, you know, part of a legalization process to bribe everybody into, you know, accepting legalized marijuana in the state was to, you know, this promise of how great our schooling system was going to be with all this tax revenue off of what is now recreational marijuana usage. And you know, all the ganja tourists that flooded into the state, many of them are still here. Many of them are still homeless, panhandling on the streets. You know, welfare babies, basically. Eating up our food stamp money, getting assisted housing. And yet, why do you still need money for our schooling system, guys? Why can't you pay the teachers enough, guys? You know, so anytime it comes to, I think, 3 or 4 of these ballot initiatives involved increase in taxes. And I'm like, hell no. It's not going to happen. Not on my watch anyway, right, guys? But you'd think people have the common sense enough not to vote for increased taxes, especially in this increasingly overtaxed, you know, unaffordable state. But we'll see, I guess. You know, the idiocy of some of these bleeding heart liberals, let's say, never ceases to astound me. So, other than that, yeah, in the past for different, you know, candidates for office, the last ballot I filled out, just as a protest vote, I filled out all Republicans, and of course, you always get rid of the judges, right? They're always there for too long anyway, right? So you vote out the judges. Yeah, in this state that is suffering under the effects of mental retardation, brought to you by the Democratic policies of the left, liberals. Yeah, my guess, solution is to just vote all Republican. And like I tell people, I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. So you just got to love all these people that criticize me and call me a lefty and Harris supporter and all this crap, just because I don't want to vote for another 4 years of the jab daddy. It's pretty ironic, guys. In any case, that's my votes. I think I covered them, the initiatives. There wasn't a whole lot. Like I said, it was only a page and one more initiative on the back of the page, 5 or 6. But man, they sure hyped it up on the news, didn't they? Every time I turn the TV on, which is rarely, every commercial is another political commercial, political ad campaign. Anyway, God bless everybody. This is Nightwatch N8. Just thought I'd share my opinions, you know, for whatever they're worth. Like I said, I am, for the most part, still a very proud card-carrying member of the political atheist party. Not even independent at this point. Like, the only solution I can think of, people, is what John Adams talked about when he said that immoral and religious people are the only safeguard to a corrupt, tyrannical government. And so get back with God, guys, as I often say. Until next time, it's Nightwatch N8. God bless. Signing out. Alright, so I thought I'd just do a quick follow-up video because I realized I didn't do nearly enough justice to the topic just in this short rant. I think I actually left out a page of amendments that I'd like to go over, just a few bullet points here. So this one, Amendment G, was definitely a yes vote for me, just on the surface, property tax exemption. I personally think that should be extended for everybody, but definitely veterans, right? And even more so disabled veterans. Again, it says this constitutional amendment would allow more disabled veterans to qualify for a property tax exemption for a portion of their primary residence value. What's known as a homestead exemption is limited to veterans who are considered completely and permanently disabled due to service. So again, that was a yes vote from me. And so, yeah, like I said, I'd like to take it one step even further and one day apply such a amendment to all land and property owners in the state. Wouldn't that be nice? No taxation without representation. I don't feel very represented, do you? So, yeah, the other one, of course, the Amendment 1, no bail for first-degree murder in Colorado. The state is soft enough as is on crime, being the liberal mecca that it is. This amendment, which was added to the ballot by state lawmakers, would once again allow judges to order defendants in first-degree murder cases to be held without bail ahead of trial. And again, it just makes sense when we have all these illegals, right? Undocumented illegals running around committing crimes and then skipping the state, as soon as they're released. So yeah, I voted a yes on that one. So Amendment J, of course, morally, ethically, I am not for same-sex marriage. I don't think it deserves the classification of marriage in the first place. Why do same-sex couples who don't embrace other biblical principles have to be legally recognized as a biblical concept, which is marriage? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Cognitive dissonance at its finest. But on another level, I don't think the state should be involved in the first place on any level of legislating morality. I thought it was weird when I got married. I thought it was weird just the fact that I had to register my marriage with the state. Marriage, as I saw it at the time, and I guess I still see it to this day, was a binding contract, contractual agreement with my mate and our Creator. And so I never saw it as I never saw the point why the state should be involved in marriage in the first place. And state lawmakers referred Amendment J to the ballot during the most recent legislative session. It would remove language from the state constitution that declares only a union of one man and one woman shall be valid and recognized as a marriage in this state. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? And again, I know what's behind, this little evil agenda to trample on all the principles of God's government, right? Biblical principles such as marriage. And the only reason why so many on the left, so many secular people are so hell-bent on redefining marriage as to be whatever they want it to be, marriage between this and whatever they can conjure up, their imaginations, twisted, perverted imaginations. At the same time, I see the right and this rising tide of the religious right and their compulsion to get religion back in the government, and the threat that actually poses on all of our liberties in this country as a constitutional republic who respects the First Amendment, separation of church and state. So I kind of see this marriage issue as kind of a foot in the door for these people with this insane agenda of trying to legislate more morality, make people better people through the levers of the government, right? Through force, which is all the government seems to know. So on that one, I actually left blank. And so you can, if you want, stone me in the comments section. I'm pretty thick-skinned. It's okay. And I'll understand if you do because, part of me thinks I should have probably just voted yes just to stand up for the biblical principle of marriage. But, like I said, I try to lean libertarian as much as possible just to counteract the, tyrannical agendas being proposed on either side of the two-party controlled opposition paradigm. But, yeah, some of these, I swear, it's the forked tongue kind of devil arguments in a lot of these initiatives, and that's one reason I don't often. It's almost like going to the dentist, tooth pulling. I don't often even like to vote, but I felt compelled on a few of these amendments to scribble in my little circle for whatever it's worth, right, guys?
Modifying election deadlines. I didn't fully look into that one, but it figured to me like, you know what? Certain things, if they're not broke, even though that's kind of comical at this point where we're talking about the elections, but it's almost like whenever they come up with more solutions and ability to meddle with deadlines, it seems like it's easier for them to rig things a certain way against the will of the people. And so I just, skeptic as I am, voted no on that one, Amendment K. But this one I actually voted against, and it is kind of another moral issue, Amendment 79. But I do like Ron Paul's description of why he was against abortion on the constitutional right to life and liberty issue as a libertarian, which is true. It's a living being inside your womb, and I realize you're a woman and you have the right to your own body, but at some point it becomes its own little autonomous being growing inside of you. And if we can't defend the right to life and liberty of that little innocent child, none of us are safe, right? And I mean, this is already a sanctuary state for abortion as is, right? I mean, I don't know why it has to be any more enshrined abortion rights in this state. So Amendment 79 would also remove states' current constitutional ban against public funding for abortions, right? So there you go. More funding for, that altar of Baal. Got to keep it fresh with blood sacrifices, right? Anyway, so that one's one I definitely voted no. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it actually passes in this state. Of course, another tax, sports betting. That was a big nope. It says in 2019, Colorado voters legalized sports gambling with 10% tax on casinos. Sports betting proceeds not to exceed $29 million a year. The tax collections cover the state's costs to regulate sports gambling. But the law didn't anticipate Coloradans would love to bet on sports this much. During the heights of football season, there were $716 million in total sports wagers, 38% increase over December 2022. And of course, state forecast $36 million in about 2 years, well beyond the 29 cap. The state will return excess tax collection to sports book operators. Yeah. But anytime there's more taxes, I'm against that. So I did vote against that. And this one I didn't even realize it was about, leave it to Colorado, right? Commie state of Colorado to try to levy a 6.5% excise tax on gun sellers for all sales of ammunition, firearms, and gun parts. And the money would fund programs for crime victims and behavioral health support for veterans and youth. Of course, it's always a noble cause, right? All I read was this first part, $39 million increase annually in state taxes, and I voted no. But yeah, it's definitely a hell no. When I just read about this, it's actually a tax on guns and ammunition sales. Wouldn't doubt it before long if we have emojis on our ballots, right? I would have definitely put a angry emoji on that one. But, let's talk about these devilish arguments. The other one was prohibition of bobcat, lynx, and mountain lion hunting. And for me, I'm kind of a softie when it comes to certain things. I love big cats. I love all cats. I've had very close relationships with pet cats, growing up as a kid, on into adulthood even. And I'm very much on a gut level, on an emotional level, I guess, let's say, moral outrage level. I'm against trophy hunting of big cats. I think it's stupid, for these people to... I know I'm probably going to offend some of my audience. I know a few people that I can think of that have done this and would argue against me on this, but just chasing a big cat up a tree with some dogs and shooting it out of a tree, that's not really a sport in my mind. And so, trophy hunting against cats, I am kind of against, but at the same time, I kind of realize what's behind it in this state. Again, it's protecting animals and nature, putting creation above man, who is designed by God to rule over nature. Now, if we were moral beings, it wouldn't be an issue, right? We wouldn't need laws like this one. But this one was a tough one for me. Again, stone me in the comments section, but I just left this one blank, okay? It's one of those. I love big cats. And I've watched some documentaries, and it's just cruel, guys, all right? And there's not like that many big cats in this state. I think there was, last estimate I read, like around 3,000 throughout the entire state. Now, there was an exemption in that bill, or that proposition, for defending your wildlife, defending your livestock, or in defense, of course, right? And of course, now they're more and more releasing wolves into Colorado that are spreading further and further. I think last I heard it, they have a tracking collar on one wolf that crossed over I-70, the middle of the state. And so that's a little scary too, right? Like that's, if you ever needed a better reason to open carry, yeah, you don't want to run into a wolf someday. Unlikely that they'll attack you, but wolf pack, maybe, if things get they get populated enough, you never know. Run into a wolf pack, you're definitely going to want to be packing, you know what I mean? But okay, so yeah, that was one of those ones that I just touched my little heartstrings, and I figured in the state it's probably going to pass anyway, just knowing how many animal nature lovers are in the state. My measly little vote probably wouldn't have swayed much, but that's my confession for the day. Even though I am pro-hunter, I promise you, I'm all for hunting. I usually just like to justify hunting as, you kill something and you eat it, right? It's not just to hang a fancy mount of a cougar on your wall or, turn his pelts into a rug or something. And again, longer minimum prison for violent crimes. That was a yes for me as well, because, again, this state is so soft on crime. People who think that they can come to the state, especially illegals, right, and get away with it, and, come from these hardened countries where they will throw you in prison, possibly give you a death sentence for some of these crimes that you come over here and commit, when in this state, they'll just give you a slap on the wrist. Where do you think all the violent criminals are going to gravitate towards, right? A string of burglaries going on in multiple counties here in Colorado. Couldn't be illegals there, right? Yeah, those are a yes vote for me. And yeah, even no matter the righteous cause, once again, anything that asks for more money out of this already overly taxed state, my vote is a no vote. I personally can't think of anybody stupid enough to vote for higher taxes, but they're out there. Trust me, those people are out there. Usually motivated by a moral cause and, not hurting financially in any way themselves. So, of course, they can afford a few more pennies. Proposition 131, that was the one that I covered in my rant. If Proposition 131 is approved, instead of having a Democratic primary and a Republican primary to select each party's official candidates, all qualified candidates would be listed on a single primary ballot. Voters would select their single preferred candidate from the broader field. The top 4 vote getters from the primary would proceed to the general election. Since there would be no longer a single official candidate for each party, it's possible that multiple members of the party could end up running against each other in a general election. General elections would be revamped too. Instead of selecting a single candidate in November election, voters would choose to rank some or all of the 4 candidates in order of preference. Each voter's rankings would be counted in a single-step process to determine the winner. I don't know. It just sounds interesting. A way of stirring things up, right? Breaking that 2-party stranglehold. That's the way I looked at it anyway. So yeah, it was a vote yes for me, even though it can be manipulated as all things can, right? Proposition 129, establish position of veterinarian professional associate explained. Currently, veterinarian practices are staffed by veterinarians who have 8 or more years of education and veterinary technicians who have 2-year associate's degree. This measure would create a new mid-level position between those two called a veterinarian professional associate. The position would require a master's degree in veterinary clinical care and would be allowed to diagnose animals, perform routine surgeries, and order and perform tests and procedures under the supervision of a licensed veterinarian. And under Colorado law, only veterinarians can perform those tasks. So to me, it's like, the only ones I see opposing this would be obviously people that stand to lose money, which are, pretty entrenched veterinarians, which my experience in the past, as many pets as we've owned, are pretty, they tend to gouge. You walk out of there paying the same amount of money as a regular hospital visit. Just get your pet cat checked out. So it seems to me like it would reduce cost for consumers. And I don't see the threat, if you want to sue them for medical malpractice later because they weren't educated enough to know what they're doing, then so be it. Pursue that route. That's how things should work, in my opinion. So that's a quick overview. Like I said, how much does this really impact things? Just to scribble into a little circle on a ballot. All things can be rigged. That's been my experience. I've seen it throughout my life. When I had a friend who ran for the local sheriff, We had diabolical voting machine errors and all this other crap, and the accounting of the ballots went on longer than expected. It was delayed, and he lost supposedly, by only a few thousand votes. And so on the really big issues, things can still be rigged, but if you have the time, like I did, might as well, right? There's a few things that move you. If there's a few things you read that you feel passionately enough about that you want to stake your claim on it, then go for it. And that's just my 2 cents. Thanks for listening. Once again, Nightwatch N8, signing out.